Now, it's not uncommon for mediums to connect with serial killers. However, this is the first time for me. What up, home slices, home fries, and homes of other varieties? So today's video, I'm going to be talking about an astral realm experience that I had yesterday because it was long AF and very vivid and interesting and weird at the same time. So we're just gonna jump right into this. I tried to research this person's name and I could only get 5 hits within the state that I live in, and they were from, I believe, 1910 to the 1930s. So this person was alive back then. But other than having a date and a person's name in the city in which they live in, I cannot confirm nor deny whether or not this person was a serial killer. So that is my disclaimer here. But anyway, I'm going to jump into this astral realm experience because it is bizarre. So it begins with me and 2 people that claim to be the role of my father and my brother, and I didn't look the way that I do now. So the only thing that was the same was the jewelry that I wear, like the bracelets, the beaded bracelets that I wear. I'm not wearing them now because I'm giving my arms time to breathe. But with that being said, so me and these 2 people, we go to a restaurant to meet this guy who is an alleged serial killer. His name is Lorazzo. I don't know if it's a first name or a last name. All I can tell you is this person is Italian. He speaks mostly in Italian and has a really hard Italian accent when he tries to speak in English. A lot of this experience is the guy speaking in Italian, but I somehow understand it on the astral realm, which has happened before when I spoke in Portuguese and was fluent. It's so weird, but I was fluent in Portuguese, and I even double checked to make sure what I had spoken was real Portuguese, and it was. So yeah, we're speaking in English and Italian to this guy named Lorazzo at this old restaurant. Everything's made out of wood. I mean, a lot of restaurants have that decor where everything's wood. You got the wooden walls, you got the wooden tables and chairs, the floors, everything. It's got that old timey feel. So this Lorazzo fellow, he was a skinny young guy with dark hair, and my dad, which isn't my real dad, obviously, wanted me to meet him because he was genuinely a nice guy with an attachment that made him kill via possession. If I've lost you already, I'm so sorry. Anyway, so I'm getting out of the car to walk inside, and at first my brother and dad disappear, and I'm like, what the heck's going on? Sometimes when I have astral realm experiences, people don't necessarily do the typical walking to get to a location. They can just appear in places and walk through walls and stuff. And so that's what happened. And I'm like, what just happened? Where'd they go? And so I'm like, hey, I call out and I say something really mean to get a nasty response back because I wanted them to respond back and come back and find me. Anyway, not probably the nicest tactic, but yeah, I said something mean so they'd come back and I could catch up. It worked. As we're making our way to the table, I get a flash of this humongous white, and when I say white skin, I'm not saying Caucasian human white. I'm talking paper white. skin with black markings on its body, but this thing was massive. I've seen things with similar markings before, but this was different in terms of like the shape of it. It was humanoid kind of, but yeah, it was creepy AF. So when we sat down at the table, my dad continued the conversation he was having with Lorazzo in Italian, and I had no idea what they were talking about until somehow I started understanding Italian. I asked if he had any weird dreams before he killed his first victim, and he said he had a dream of his grandmother eating her grandchildren. Yeah, I know. You might ask, what the fuck did you watch before you go to bed? The answer is nothing. My dad nods and opens the conversation up to me and telling him that I can help him. I begin explaining that he indeed had an attachment, a very bad one, and began describing what the entity looked like. Meanwhile, my dad is showing him large crystals, like different kinds of crystals that can help protect him and keep him from becoming influenced and possessed again. I decide, as I'm looking at my crystal bracelets, you know what? I'm just going to give him 3 of them because I feel like they'll help bring in more loving energy and help protect simultaneously. So I'm holding 3 of them until I'm waiting for like an in to the conversation again to be like, hey, I got these bracelets for you. Try these. So as I'm waiting, you know, they're having a conversation. Before I give it to him, my dad and brother have to step away for whatever reason, and I'm with this guy alone. As we are waiting for them to come back, I see a full apparition manifestation above his head, and it's an older man with dark hair and a thick black mustache. Again, looks Italian. He almost looks like an older, skinnier version of Mario from Super Mario. But I am told that it's his grandfather, and he's trying to help Lorazzo help by providing him loving guidance. So as I'm watching this, I don't get any nasty feelings. I see like a gold aura around this apparition. Once my dad and brother come back and sit down, this creepy tan-skinned, dark curly-haired, skinny, I don't know, 6-foot guy comes up to us with the creepiest smile and leans in over my shoulder. He had the nastiest vibe, and he went to bite me, like bite my arm like he was some kind of zombie dude. And I could see that that guy had a very nasty attachment. I lean in the opposite direction to try to avoid him, like, ew, get away from me. Then things start getting weird in the old restaurant, to where everyone starts to leave in a panic. We all head for the door, but in a panic. I start looking for Lorazzo because I hadn't given him those bracelets yet. At some point, I lose track of my family as well. By luck, Lorazzo and I crash into one another, giving me the opportunity to be like, here, take these bracelets. They will protect you. I finally catch up to my family in the car. I look over in the back seat, and my brother, who obviously doesn't look like my brother because it's not my brother in real life, but he looks like a completely different person with his dark skin, dark brown curly hair. He also looks to be younger than 18 years old. My real life brother is 30, okay? This person starts acting strange and grabs my arm and bites it, like takes a nice chunk out of it like he's a zombie or cannibal. It's weird because sometimes when you have really bad, especially demonic attachments, they can make people do really fucked up things during that possession phase. Cannibalism is one of them. Murder is another one of them. Yeah. So it's giving that vibe. So I jump out of the car and run away, and I'm like, what the fuck? Now, I wake up at this point because my alarm's set for 11:30 a.m. However, I silence it, and then I go back to sleep for another 1.5 hours. So for someone who says, oh, it's a dream, no, when you wake up, that dream isn't supposed to continue, okay? That's how I knew it was an astral experience immediately, because the experience continued from when it left off. Because when I got up, it wasn't just that I silenced the alarm and I went back to sleep. No, I got up to go potty and went back. Anyhow, so as I continue the astral realm experience, I'm coming out of this rounded stone archway that connects the two buildings together. So it's like the building and the restaurant and like this stone archway pavilion situation. You see those a lot in like mall complexes, and that's kind of the vibe that was giving. But so as I'm coming out of there and going towards the street, I see my own grandpa. Now I see my grandpa from when he was alive, so my legit grandpa. At first, you know, I'm very skeptical, especially because I was dealing with a serial killer and his nasty attachment, and then the creepy guy and his attachment. So I'm thinking it's a trick. It is a malevolent entity pretending to be my gramps. Because that happens a lot, especially when you have really nasty entities and spirits on the astral realm. However, he passed my spirit entity check, and I could see that his aura was really gold. I felt the loving energy, like nothing was off. Like during when you have some pretending entities trying to trick you. Because usually when you have entities trying to trick you, there's always like a little detail that's off. Whether that is the appearance, the aura, their eyes, just something about them is usually off when it's a trickster or negative entity or demon pretending to be somebody else. And yeah, nothing was off. Everything was perfect to detail. So at that point, I asked, are you really my grandpa? And he nods. And then I run and then I give him a big hug because it's been a while since I had seen him last. So then he takes me to his car and we start talking. I ask him about the work that I'm doing, and he says that he's proud of me and that I'm the only one in his family in a very long time to do this work. We then make it to my parents' house, like my legitimate parents' house, and he sits down on that old rocking chair. I don't know if they still have it, but we've had it for longer than I've been alive, really. And I ask him about my teammate's mirror on the Astral Paranormal team. I ask him if the plan that I had set was the correct procedure in cleansing it, because there's a whole situation with that. It's private information. I'm not going to disclose it. All I will say is that the plan that I had to cleanse it and how I was going to cleanse it, he validated that what I was going to do was the correct thing to do, which was very great validation. He validates it and it's like, yep, you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing by not doing it in your house, and you're doing the right thing by taking it to a remote area to do it, because when you have things attached to items, they typically stay within the, or I shouldn't say within, but like attached to the item, but that gives them kind of free reign of that location in a way too, even though they're attached to the item. However, I don't want the entity to be around my teammate because it's posing harm to their mental health, but they don't want to get rid of the mirror either. So once I'm done, I have to give it back. And so I have to separate the attachment from that mirror. Technically, it's a tulpa. It was created by energies. And so, yeah. And I'm going to try to trap it somewhere else away from people. But yeah, that was my goal. Anyway, then in that experience, my grandfather fades away, and then the experience ends because then the dog jumps up on me and wakes me up permanently this time. And yeah, so I may have helped a serial killer who was once alive. Again, I have no proof. The thing is, being clairsentient and having psychometry abilities is when my hands and my feet touch things, I get information. So like walking around and sleeping where I live, you know, it's a big area. And actually, because I wrote this down, where is my notepad? Here it is. So I went on Ancestry.com, and I even tried Google to see how many Larazos are around my area. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Technically 5 within driving distance, within an hour or less from me. So, is it possible that the person that I connected to is or was real? I think they were, especially because they're pretty close in proximity. I get a lot of information, especially when there are traumatic things going on in or around my neighborhood or city. I tend to get that information. Sometimes I get some fucked up information like kidnappings, and then I'll spend a day or two researching like the appearance of the kid I've seen trapped, and sometimes I can get things that are close, but I don't have proof or evidence that it's that exact person, so I can't do much about it. If I put an anonymous tip in to the police and it's really wrong, that can be a problem. I know that is a problem in general when you have like psychic sleuths, and I'm not saying the psychic sleuth, I'm just saying sleuths that are psychic on the internet that go through all these different cases of missing kids, missing people, whatever, and they're throwing out tips to the police. Sometimes, and when I say sometimes, a lot of times they can be wrong, and it can really hinder the investigation. And as someone who studied criminal justice and criminology, I have a good understanding of how protocols work in terms of police conduct and evidence. So I don't want to do anything that can hinder the investigation. The only time I would put forth that type of information is if I know for 100% certainty that what I got is legit and it's 100% matched to so-and-so. That's the only time I would do it. That's why I haven't been putting out a lot of like cases. Like Dylan Rounds, his stuff came in pretty clear and we knew it was Dylan Rounds. That Sebastian Rogers, his came in pretty clearly. That's why I did those cases. People keep asking me to do Summer Wells. That one's a tough one because there's going to be a lot of information that is FUBAR, people aren't going to want to hear, and is disturbing. And I just need mental, like, energy for that, and physical and psychic energy to do that, because that one is going to zap me pretty bad because it's really sad and, again, traumatizing. So for those who keep asking me to do that case, in due time, I'm just waiting for the right moment and the right information. So don't think I'm ignoring those comments. I am not. I promise you. At some point, I will do it. But it is not right now. But yeah, I wish I had more information on this Larazo dude. I just know it was a male. And I would say he was probably around 30 years old or younger. between, I would say, 20 and 30 years old. But other than that, I have no other proof of who it could be. But that's just how my astral realm experiences are. So for those who are curious what it's like to have some of these crazy astral realm experiences, here you go. But yeah, guys, I'm going to end this video here. I hope you found it interesting, even if you don't believe it, or you have a hard time, I don't know, thinking that it was an astral realm experience and just thought it was a dream. Then see it as entertainment, I guess. I can't help some of the things I experience or dream or what have you. But yeah, thanks again so much for watching, and I will see you all soon. Peace out. Did you know that over 45% of people report experiencing paranormal activity in their lives? The unexplained is closer than you think. Yet, many turn to risky methods that can attract unpredictable energies, leading to unsettling experiences. Introducing the Spiritual Defenses, the Haunted Oracle deck, a safer alternative for those eager to explore the spiritual realms. This deck is broken up into 3 different sections: the what, the action, and the mode of entrance. The what refers to the specific type of spirit, entity, energy, or the underlying cause of the issues that a person may be experiencing. The action relates to the specific forms of paranormal activity, oppression, and other challenges posed by the entity, spirit, or energies involved. The mode of entrance, often referred to as the origin, indicates the factors that led to its development. So the next time you encounter unexplained phenomena or a sense of unease, consider using the Spiritual Defenses, the Haunted Oracle deck. This tool can illuminate the unseen forces that may be affecting your well-being. Reclaim your sense of control by taking the fear out of the experience and educating yourself on the mysterious. By doing so, you will enhance your life positively as you continue your journey of spiritual growth.
Monsters play in the dark of your mind. Truth and lies twisted